What are first-in-human studies for COPD drug development? If you have ever wondered how new treatments for chronic obstructive pulmonary disease are developed, you are in the right place. Let's talk about first-in-human studies and what they mean for patients and caregivers. First-in-human studies are the very first phase of clinical trials where a new drug for chronic obstructive pulmonary disease is tested in people. These studies are essential for determining if a new treatment is safe for human use. During these studies, researchers focus on three main areas: safety, dosage, and preliminary effects. Safety is monitored closely to identify any adverse reactions or side effects that might occur. Researchers also look at dosage to find out how much of the drug can be safely given to patients. Sometimes, early signs of how the drug might help with lung function or inflammation are also observed. For instance, a drug called AstraZeneca's AZD8871, which targets chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, went through a first-in-human study. In this study, they tested single doses and increased the amount gradually. This careful approach helps ensure that any effects are closely monitored. First-in-human studies typically involve small groups of healthy volunteers or patients with chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. These groups are chosen to gather early data on how the drug behaves in the human body. This stage is critical before moving on to larger trials. After first-in-human studies, the next phases of clinical trials, known as Phase 2 and Phase 3, take place. These later phases involve larger groups of patients and focus on how well the drug improves lung function, reduces flare-ups, and enhances overall quality of life. For patients and caregivers considering participation in clinical trials, understanding first-in-human studies is important. These studies representing the initial step in translating laboratory research into potential new treatments. While participation in these trials is limited and controlled, they set the stage for future trials that may offer more direct benefits. In summary, first-in-human studies are the first tests of new drugs in people. They help ensure safety and begin to reveal how a new treatment might work for chronic obstructive pulmonary disease. These studies are a foundational part of the clinical trial process, ultimately aiming to bring new treatments to those living with chronic obstructive pulmonary disease.